Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Whenever I post something about how horrible the genocide is in Palestine, someone will inevitably post underneath it, well, they should release the hostages. And the hostages are to Israel what Donald Trump is to the Democrats. It's the go-to excuse to hide all their failings. And without the hostages, it would become crystal clear who the bad guys are in this situation. It's crystal clear anyway. The whole world has turned on Israel. The whole
also,
world.
They don't want the hostages. The Israeli government, their families want them. The Israeli government does not. The Hannibal Directive, I believe it's called.
So, yeah, they don't want the hostages back, and that's what this story is about.
Yeah.
The Israeli newspaper just confirmed that it's Benjamin Netanyahu who has turned down every deal to get the hostages back, which is why the people in Israel have been protesting Benjamin Netanyahu, because they know this too. The only people who don't know this are the people who support Israel in the United States. And how you could support Israel is just a mind blower to me.
Because you're worried what your Bubby and Zadie would say?
It's just because you hate Muslims and Arabs, and that's all. You buy into that. Oh, it's a culture clash, and hey, you know what? Muslim country never invaded the United States. The United States has invaded plenty of Muslim countries. Here it says Israel's longest running paper, Haaretz, just confirmed that Netanyahu actively blocked every hostage deal since October 7th of last year. Netanyahu, meanwhile, is openly planning to annex Gaza. And the conversation is still, why won't Hamas agree to the deal? This is how genocide perpetuates. Horrific. So I'm shocked that Benjamin Netanyahu isn't acting from an ethical position on the hostage deal. I don't know about you. It's
he's the best.
You can't. I mean, really, Benjamin Netanyahu. You can't possibly be talking about the same guy who directly opened fire on concert goers with attack helicopters, incinerating them in their cars. Right? That's not. Bibi Netanyahu cares as much about those hostages as a Chinese restaurant cares about the lobsters in the tank when you walk in.
You know, Netanyahu, the name means a gift from God or given by God.
Israel,
not his real name, Milkowski, by the way. His name's Milkowski.
And he changed his name because it would reveal that he actually didn't come from the Middle East. He's a European.
He came from Poland. He actually came from Poland.
Yeah.
That's why you can't do 23andMe in Israel. It's illegal.
And Israel can't whack their own hostages fast enough. Why? Because the hostages, whenever they do make it out, they have these stories of how they were treated well. And
the ones that weren't shot by Israel.
Totally, yeah. The ones that don't get killed by Israel, when they get out, they say, yeah, they treated us well, and it debunks all their stupid rape stories. The people doing the raping are the IDF.
Of men in prisons.
They
protest to let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the paper. New evidence reveals Netanyahu's relentless efforts to block hostage deal, report shows. So, again, if you're one of those people who watch this show and somehow supports Israel, it's a mind blower. I have friends who still support Israel. It's a mind blower. But it's because they buy into that, oh, we have to fight against they don't treat their women right. Yeah, you guys are slaughtering children.
You know what a funka is?
They don't treat gay people right. How many gay people you think Israel slaughtered in Gaza? You don't think there's any gay people there being slaughtered? What's that, Kurt?
I love that. They're not... Hamas doesn't like LGBTQ. Yeah, neither does Israel. What are you talking about? Ace Frehley, what's his name? Paul Stanley from KISS to this day has to be in the closet because his parents will go, oh, he has problems with women. They don't acknowledge that stuff. That's a lie.
So
they don't have gay marriage and all that.
So if he got the reason why Netanyahu doesn't want the hostages back, why do you think that is? Because then he'd have to stop slaughtering, and genociding the Gazans. And the whole point is that they want to take over Gaza and the West Bank. Not only that, they want to take over parts of Syria. They want to take over parts of Lebanon. They want to take over parts of Iran. It's called the Greater Israel Project. Just like that General Wesley Clark said, oh, they had a plan before 9/11 to go into 7 Muslim countries. It's just like that. They've got this plan. He's got this plan. This has been the plan all along, which is why Netanyahu and the Likud party and the Israeli government propped up Hamas instead of the PLO.
It goes past the river and the sea, actually.
Yeah. So from the river to the sea it's okay if is Israel saying that, because that's what they're saying. So I just don't understand. So it's just a bias against Arabs. That's all that. If you are supporting Israel, that's all it is. You have those stupid ideas that, like Bill Maher, oh, their religion makes them violent. There's nobody more violent than the United States.
Well, it's not just okay.
No,
that's
nobody
like
more violent than not even close. Not even close.
The chump level is that you hate Arabs, but keep in mind, there's people that say like my ex-girlfriend, and we, it wasn't like an argument; we'd just be joking. But and I'm like, and I mean, it's always like, yeah, Americans gonna pay Israel no matter what, and I'm like, but listen, Israel doesn't count. I'm American, number one. She's like, well, I'm both Israeli and American, so I have 2 passports, so I'm above you. And she had me there. That's actually a better citizenship. But that's the thing of being chosen and being better than everybody else. And it's, every group thinks they're the chosen one, but it's beyond just not liking people. It's like there's a thing of, no, we can do this more than anybody else can do this. It's
so if he got the hostages back, he'd have to start explaining why he's bombing those people. He'd have to actually explain it. Right now, he doesn't. He keeps saying the hostages.
Well, if they didn't mistreat the hostages, it looks bad for the whole thing that he's trying to hold together quite desperately.
By the way, you want to be a millionaire? I'd say open a travel agency in Israel right now. Yeah, Israel's going down faster than toilet paper during COVID. So here's from Haaretz and the Jewish Independent. They both cite the report by Channel 12 News. Yaron Avram said that since the hostages release ceasefire deal in November, Israel's negotiation team has been a futile mission to secure another deal to bring home more hostages, while Netanyahu did everything in his power to make sure they are not successful. Netanyahu walked back several promises he made, including an agreement to end the war, and invented new non-starters that were previously never mentioned that blocked the deal. He also repeatedly prevented negotiators from traveling to ceasefire talks or greatly limited their negotiation powers when they are allowed to go. So, but perhaps even more concerning is that this is not a recent development. Haaretz reported way back in March of 2024 that Netanyahu's own generals are angry with him for sabotaging a hostage deal. In fact, the families of the hostages themselves condemned Netanyahu as Mr. Death, stating that they learned a full hostage deal was on the table in October of 2023. And Netanyahu rejected it. That's because he doesn't
get Hamas.
That's because he doesn't want them back. No doubt Netanyahu is preventing a hostage deal, charges ex-spokesman of Family Forum. Simultaneously, Netanyahu has made clear his intentions to annex Gaza. That's what this is about. This is about imperialism. Further deepening the catastrophe that already grips the Palestinian territory. This is not a random byproduct of war. It is a deliberate strategy to seize land that does not belong to Israel under international law. It is no different in practical effect than Putin annexing part of the Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Israeli military continues to bombard Gaza, killing civilians indiscriminately. It's discriminate. That's the thing that people keep getting wrong. They go, they're bombing. No, they're bombing civilians on purpose. It's not indiscriminate.
Hey, by the way, if you want to say God gave you that land, you actually have to follow all the rules of God for that to be valid, which they don't.
Yeah, Zionists are not religious. They're not religious people.
The LGBTQ thing is, I don't know if you know, not cool.
Not cool in the Bible.
Right. So you could say God gave it to you, but you don't have to do none of God, because I remember the book that justifies you doing this. When Israel didn't do the rules, they lost their land every single time. That was like kind of a repeat thing, kind of their whole thing. So it's like both ways bullshit. The same as people like, God bless America. Like, God would give a fuck about America.
Just America. I don't want any of those blessings going over to Canada or, God forbid, Mexico. Just America.
Well, definitely not Canada. I mean,
definitely not.
That's accurate. That's biblically accurate.
How then can anyone deny that this is the perpetuation of genocide? This is in the Israeli newspaper.
Oh, I know how. By buying our media with a pack called APAC and getting people fired that say something you don't like. That's kind of how.
So this is no longer the early stages of fascism. And one way to spot that it's not is that the leaders, they're not even bothering to hide what they're doing.
They haven't hid anything. They do it openly.
They do it right.
It's up to the papers here to cover up what they're doing. And even the media here can't do it. Even the media here has to break and show some of it.
Israel is entering the second phase of its war in Gaza, when it will strive to complete its takeover of the northern Gaza Strip from the previous border to the Nazarim corridor. We can predict that this area will then gradually be made available for Jewish settlements and annexation to Israel. Indeed, one of the most difficult elements to prove when assessing genocide is the matter of intent. Yet what other conclusion can be drawn when Netanyahu blocks hostage deals, prolongs the conflict, and openly declares his plans to annex Gaza while it lies in ruins? This is not accidental. This is calculated. This is intentional. And it does not take international human rights lawyers to see the intent behind this cruelty. So,
a bunch of people know, and they're like, good, do it. But who's going to go move there? Who are you going to get to go move into Gaza? Do you have enough crazy people left?
One of the most effective propaganda claims Netanyahu has disseminated is that he'd stop bombing Gaza if only Hamas would accept releasing all the hostages. Meanwhile, as the receipts in this article shows, Netanyahu has been the main culprit behind preventing a hostage deal, even as he rejected UN Security Council Resolution 2735. It's a binding UN resolution of Israel's own hostage release proposal, and Netanyahu rejected it once it passed because Hamas accepted it. Israel rejects Security Council resolution in support of its own hostage deal offer. Enough is enough. It is past time for the international community to stop arming Netanyahu's regime and enabling these crimes. The siege on Gaza must end, and those responsible for these atrocities, Netanyahu and his military generals, must be held accountable. Only through justice and accountability can we ensure true safety and security for both Palestinians and Israelis in both the short and long term. So, I think it's pretty safe to say that tourism is going to be down in Israel for the foreseeable future. I think it's safe to say. Anyway, so I just want, if you're still one of those people who supports Israel to just slaughter people for whatever reason, you are the moral superior of no one. The Muslims you claim to hate because their religious book makes them barbarians. You're a barbarian. There's nothing below you. Just morally, just so you know, there's nothing below someone who can support that. That's the Israeli newspaper. So they're just slaughtering people so they can take over their land. Kind of like the United States, how we were founded.
I would say pedophiles are below them, but Epstein worked for Israel, so
that's right. And
that's Israel's agent. Jeffrey Epstein. Who'd you think he worked for? Not Israel. It's Israel.
And when people say, I love when people say Israel has a right to defend themselves against Hamas. That's like saying, you know, the United States has a right to defend itself against the Cherokees. You know, the ones we put in concentration camp. I'm sorry, reservations. Did they still call them reservations?
I don't know. I thought it was pretty crappy. But you know, on the Trail of Tears, it was mostly the Cherokee slaves that died. You know, they owned slaves, so their slaves died on there mostly. It's a massive thing. I would compare it to coming into your house, and then when you shoot at them, they kill you, and they're like, "I was defending myself."
Yes,
it's like you're in my house.
That's right.
A little more like that.
Yeah. Hey, the economy has been a major burden to the average American. Wages are flat, expenses are up, and it's very hard to manage to pay all the bills without grabbing for your credit card. If you're a homeowner and you're frustrated with that cycle, I need you to make a 10-minute no-obligation call today to our friends at American Financing. Interest rates are coming down and are now in the low fives. And if you're constantly carrying credit card balance each and every month with the rate in the 20s, American Financing can show you how to put your hard-earned equity to work and get you out of debt. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving their customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. Call American Financing today at 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.